Good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Venkat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so today we will discuss about the introduction to data engineering. So this today and tomorrow we will see the data engineering basics. So what is actually the data engineering? So what we will do, right? So the roles of a typical data engineer in real time. So these are the things that we're going to concentrate in coming couple of days. Okay, so once we have understanding on what is a data engineer and how what he will do in real time projects, then we will move on to the data analytics with the SQL or SQL. Okay. Then after SQL, we will jump into the cloud computing. So that's the plan for us uh, to this course. Okay. So before going to that, I just want to intimate about the fee details for this curriculum, right? So we have discussed about all the course curriculum about Google Cloud Data Engineer in our last session. And we also discussed what are the things that we're going to learn in this entire curriculum, right? So I just want to come up with some kind of fee structure so that people will be aware that okay, so that people will be aware of this fee structure. Okay, and so the entire course for this GCP data engineering. So the role you are going to get is this GCP data engineer. So the course fee that I'm actually going to announce. So this is 25,000, and this is a 2 months course. A 2 months course starting from today. This is a 2 months course. The fee for this is 25,000. Okay, so you can pay it in two phases. Okay, for the you can pay 15, 10, or 10, 15. At the end you can pay 10,000, and now you can pay 15. So that is the flexibility that you have. Okay, so try to understand the fee structure for this entire course. Okay, so it's 25,000, and it's gonna be 2.5 month. So hardly I will try to complete in 2 months, but if some concepts go beyond the time limitation, so definitely it will take half a month extra. Okay, so that's some information that I want to pass. So after announcing the fee structure, I just want to hear from the team who are actually coming along with us or who are not. Okay, so let's try to understand. Anusha, is it okay for you about this fee? Hello, Anusha, are you there? We lost her. Okay, so Ranganath, how about you?
Yeah, fine, Venki.
Okay. Prakati.
Yes, Venki.
Okay, so I mean you are okay with the fee, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So Anusha, hope you joined back. Are you able to hear us?
Yeah, yes, Venki.
So we are just discussing about the fee structure for this entire GCP data engineer course. So is it okay for you? I mean, the 25,000 is the fee structure that we are discussing. So that is okay for you. You are coming with us, correct?
Yeah, yes, Venki.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so let me share my. Okay, so I already screen share. Okay, so I'm expecting this first phase of payment by this weekend. Okay, so by Friday, uh, you try to pay the first uh, phase. It may be, I mean, the first phase I'm just giving it as 15,000. Okay, so by Friday, try to pay the first payment. Then at the last week of this course, you can pay remaining 10,000. Okay, so that's the fee structure that I'm going to announce today. Okay, so I think hope you are all clear about the payment. Okay, so let's start our today's session. Okay, so we have discussed about the course curriculum in our last session, and today we will discuss about the basics of data engineering, right? So to discuss about the basics of data engineering, first of all we need to understand the software development process, what actually software engineers will do. So it's actually the myth, right? So few people will say I work in admin, few people will say I work in support, few people will say I work in production support, L2, L1, L3, all these things. Few people will say I'm working in development, few people will say I'm working in testing, few people will say I'm working in database. So what, I mean, why these roles are segregated into multiple things, right? So first of all, let us understand how a typical application development project will work. Okay, so what is a web application, guys? So web application is a software which will serve serve a business requirement. Okay, and which will allow multiple users to utilize that web application and achieve that business requirement. So that end of the day, all, I mean, everybody have to utilize the web applications that are being developed by different businesses. Let us say Zomato, they have a business idea. They need some app to uh, to communicate with the customers, is it? So any business, guys, any business, take any business, the business, if the business wants to communicate with the customers, every business needs customers, correct? Every business needs customers. So if the business is expecting some revenue to be generated, then they should go and communicate to their customers, correct? So business owner cannot go to every customer's house and communicate and explain about his business, and then he cannot circulate the pamphlets and then ask customers to log in, or ask customers to write something in the book or not. So this is, we are not in that era, right? Now, if any business owner wants to start his business, he has to come up with some kind of a web application to communicate with the customers. Okay, take any businessman. it may be let's take Chroma or Zomato or any kind of business, any kind of business. It may be food, or it may be banking, or it may be retail, or it may be healthcare, right? So any kind of a business demands web applications to survive in the market, right? So these web applications will actually run the business. If you clearly see, these web applications or mobile apps are ruling the business. Okay, so if you go to DMart or you go to any kind of a retail store, so what you will see, guys, there they have a web application where they will take your product details. They will just scan, and immediately they will get the product price, and then as and when they keep on scan, it will accumulate the value, and then you are getting final payment that you need to do, right? That's a web application which is developed to serve a purpose, of one of the purpose in the business, right? So you'll see hell lot of such kind of applications in your day-to-day life, correct? So it may be retail. So when you went to any hospital, right? So in the hospital, first you'll take the OP, right? So what they will do, they will enter all your details, and then they will click on generate or something. So it will give the first uh, sign in information, or first sign in to the hospital, to you. Okay, and then they will store your data somewhere. So every business need web application to communicate with the customers, to communicate with the customers. So when the business starts communicating with the customers with the help of a web application or mobile app, that is where the data is getting generated. Be very, very clear, guys. Okay, when we say data, it is not about your personal data, it is not about my personal data, it is about the business data. Be very, very clear. Okay, so what we engineer the business data, and we derive solutions out of the data. Be very, very clear. Okay, a typical data engineer will do data engineering with the business data, and he will derive solutions by going deeper into the data. How we will go deeper into the data? We will use the technologies that we know, and we will apply the logics on top of the data, and we will apply the analytics on top of the data, and we will derive the business value out of the data. Okay, so this business value will grow the client business, or this business value that we're going to derive will help the business owners to grow their business. Be very, very clear. Okay, so now what we know, guys, we know every typical business in this world needs web applications. Okay, and these web applications are the medium for businesses to communicate with their clients or customers. Okay, so once the customers started communicating with these mediums, then that's where the data is getting generated. Okay, so you went to bank, man, you want to open an account. So you will just or you are opening an online account. So where you will go, you will open a link, a web application, you will enter all your details, and then you will click on submit. So you are virtually, you are communicating with the bank, not physically. Virtually you are communicating with the bank using bank web application, right? So you opened your account. That's one portal, from where actually you entered all your details, and there will be another portal for bank which will check your details, and then they will approve and give account number, right? So this everything is application. Be very, very clear. Everything that we are working on in today's world is web applications. In open your mobile, you'll see hell lot of apps, right? Every app, the intention is the business. In the back end of your app, the single agenda is the business. Okay, so you have Zomato or you have Ola, you have Uber. Every mobile app is developed towards or developed from a business idea. Be very, very clear. Okay, every app have a business owner who will actually who actually started his business with this app, right? So in a software development process, how actually these web applications are being developed, right? So we will see that part first. Okay, how web applications are being developed, and then what is the typical process involved into this software development process, right? So then we will go to the data side of it. Okay, so let us understand a typical application development project. Okay, so there will be four key teams involved. Okay, there will be four key teams involved in this entire application development project life cycle. Okay, UI team, API team, DB team, testing team. I forgot one more team, the production support team. Okay, so five teams. So remember, in any kind of a typical application development project, when a business user came up with some kind of a requirement, hey, I need this portal or I need this web application to serve my business. Okay, then companies will start taking the requirements from the business owners or business users. So let us take an example. A business user is there. I have around 5 to 6 hotels. Let us take an example. A business owner is there and he has around 5 to 6 hotels. Okay, and in that 5 to 6 hotels, he is maintaining a book based entries, and book based operations. Everything is written there. Then he thought of, okay, so I have around 5 to 6 hotels. I need a web application to support all this so that I can reduce my man power, the labor he can reduce. So if one web application came, he can actually reduce his labor charges, and its web application is a one time investment. He cannot pay every month. So for that, he went to a software company, and he asked, hey, look, I have around 6 hotels. I want to have a unified portal to track all my clients information. Okay, so then company will start taking the requirements. Okay, so how what is the business goal, and okay, so how actually you are expecting your portal to be, right? So you need check-in time, check-out time. Okay, so then here you need a client information. Okay, every client have a login. Okay, so this everything, the requirements will be taken from the business user, from the by the company. So who will take the requirements, guys? So there will be a dedicated person to take the business requirements. Okay, so who's that person? Business analyst. Be very, very clear. Business analyst. So business analyst will take the requirements from the business users, okay, or business owners, and this BA will pass down those requirements to the solution architect in your project. So there will be a key person who will actually convert this business requirements into technical functionalities. Be very, very clear. Okay. So that person is solution architect. Okay. SCA we'll call it as. So this SEA will take these business requirements from the business analyst or directly from the business owners in some cases, and then he will convert the business requirements to the technical requirements or technical functionalities. So he will assume out of his entire 20-30 years of expertise in the software application development, so solution architect can understand the business requirements, and then he can visualize, okay, these requirements can be done in this programming language and with this implementation. Okay, so with this UI technology, okay, with this database storage, so he can visualize the entire application life cycle. Okay, so now he can take the requirements and he will provide the solution architecture for that project, entire design of a project. So what that design includes, okay, so this is the UI, okay, and how actually user is expecting, and we are using Angular or React JS for this user interface development. Okay, next, this is the API, application program interface layer. Okay, so wherein we are using Python for this API development. Okay, so inside the Python, we are using the Django framework to build this API. Okay, so next, DB team. So we are using Oracle database for the customer's security because our business owner demanding high security database. So we are placing Oracle as it is a high secure database. So depending on the business requirements, depending on the business owner's choice, so your architect will design your solution architecture. Okay, so it is completely depending on the business owner uh, requirements. Be very very clear. Even solution architecture or solution architect does not have any kind of free hands to go and do the wonders in the project according to the business owner's decisions. Okay, this is the cost limitation. This is the budget I'm giving for you. Within this budget only my project should be completed. If the budget comes into as a constraint, definitely your project company will think and allocate the resources according to that. So your solution architect also think about the technologies. Every enterprise technology is cost, right? Which includes cost. If he wants to give Oracle database, we need to buy licenses. So in that case, that will also charge. This enterprise servers will charge. So everything is chargeable, right? So your architect also think, and then design according to the cost and budget. So once the requirements are passed and then your solution architect started designing the web application, and then he will assign that design to a manager in your entire company. So they will assign a team for it. Every this technical team will be having a technical lead, and there will be a manager who will be taking care of multiple technical leads. Okay, and this project went to one of the manager, and under that manager, one technical team will be there, and in the technical team there will be a technical lead. Under that lead there will be the team, right? So now your lead will take this entire design, and then he will start giving you, giving the team members the requirements. Okay, UI means user interface. So UI team will be working in completely the user interface, how actually the UI should be. For example, when we click on www.venkathotels.com, so how the UI should be, and what are all the options the clients can access, right? So these are all the things UI team will do. And once we have the UI understanding, there is a application program interface layer, which is which is next to UI. As and when clients started clicking or using the web, UI, so at the back end, the functionality will be executed. So from the UI, what we do, we pass the request, we get the response. Be very, very clear. UI will do that only. Okay. So UI won't do any kind of functional implementation. UI will, from the UI, will click and then we'll get the response. Okay. From where this response is coming, this response is coming from the backend. Be very, very clear. The API layer, application program interface layer. Okay. So when we do some operations from the UI, there will be a backend API layer which will be communicating with the database. Be very, very clear. All your data with respect to that application will be stored in a database, and this API layer will be communicating with the database, and according to the UI request, it will go and then it will fetch the data from the database, or it will insert the data to the database. Okay. So this is a typical, basic level project understanding, guys. There will be a UI team, there will be a API team. API meaning it may be in .NET, Java, or Python, C++, or whatever. We use the programming to build that functionality. Okay, when we get this UI request, this API should behave like this. Okay, and when we get this, API request, this functionality should be executed. So let us take an example. You are attending one off campus, okay, off campus drive. So there, what we'll do? So we'll enter all our details and then we'll click submit. That is the UI. Once you click submit, your API layer will take all these details and push them to database. Okay. Then there will be another link for the college to check how many, how many students got registered for the off campus, right? So that application will pull the data from this database where actually the students registered or students submitted all the details. From that database itself, another portal will read the data and then show it to the college management. So very simple understanding, guys. Try to understand what is the API, what is the UI, what is the database. Okay. You take any application, you name any application. So every application will be having these three. Be very, very clear. Every application will be having these three things. So what will happen, right? So this UI team will develop the UI, this API team will develop the API, and this database team will set up the database and then give access to everybody, and then they will make sure the database is up and running fine, because the DB is the heart for every damn application in the world. Be very, very clear. Okay. If there is a database down, then your application is also down. Okay. So first we will design, the solution architect will design the application, and then we develop, the technical team will develop the application. Okay. And then we deploy. So finally, once the application is developed, it has to be deployed in a play in a place, right? So that place we'll call it as a server. Okay, the machine. So the application code should be up and running 24/7 in a server environment, right? So that process we'll call it as deployment process. We develop the code, we have to run it somewhere. Where to run? So we run it in a server. So in that server, we actually place our application code base, and then we will run it. That's what we call it as web server. Okay. And then we actually have a DB, the database server. This web server, in some cases, the database also will be running in the same server. In some projects, the database they'll give a dedicated server itself. So they will communicate the web server, which is having all the application code, they will communicate with the database server, and then from the database server they will get the data, they'll push the data, so whatever. So finally we do the deployment, and then application will be deployed in production servers. Okay. And then that application documentation will prepare all the points in the document, and then we will write everything what we have done for that application as a development team. Then once the deployment is completed, the application is in live. So it will be running 24 by 7, and then hotel management is happy. So all the clients are logging in with the application, and then they are getting uh, proper information from the web application itself. No need of books and all, no need of entries in the books, ledgers, no need to maintain account ledgers and all. So everything is happening in the web applications itself for the hotel management, and they are happy. Now all of a sudden they got one issue with the web server, right? And it went down, and it's a very peak business time, right? So when this application went down, so it was very loss for this hotel business owner, right? So because if it is not working for a half day, he'll lose a lot of bookings, right? So for that reason, once every application got deployed or is running in the production, so every business spend some money in the application support, okay, or production support. Okay, so this production support team will continuously monitor these application, and then they will take immediate action when these applications went down, or when these applications have any problem. So these teams, production support teams, will actually come into the picture, and then collect everybody from the entire development team, and they will take all the documentations, and then according to the documentations they will fix the issues. Okay, so some production teams will fix the issues, some production teams will push the issues to development team. So there will be different segregations. So definitely there will be a team which will be supporting the application in the production. So that team will call it as production support team. So finally, that's where your application support will end, right? So this is the typical life cycle of a project, right? So anybody have any questions in this? Are you able to understand this process, how it goes? Come on, guys, respond. Any questions? Any clarifications you need in this entire process? Are you able to understand the typical application development process?
Yeah, Venkat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. So let's go a little bit deeper into it. So now I need answers from you. So what is data, guys? Let us answer this question. So what is data?
Collection of information.
Okay, great. Other
Stored
answers?
stored representation of objects and events as a
Okay,
particular part of business.
okay, great. So any other answers? Come on, guys, it's a very simple question. What is data? GPT. Just give your answer. So we got two answers only. We have around 8 people in the session. No answers? Do you want me to go person by person? Okay, I'll do that. So, Prakati?
Yes, Venki. It's a collection of
Yes.
information.
Okay, so in your terms, data is collection of information. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Ranganath?
A collection of information which is used to analyze the statistics.
Okay, okay, great. Sai Kumar?
Yeah, it's a collection of information.
So, voice is not clear. Sai?
Hello.
Yes, Sai.
Yeah, it's a collection of information.
It's a collection of information. Okay. Sai Teja?
Same Minky, like it's a collection of information which is in a meaningful format.
Okay, okay. Anusha?
Yeah, same Vinky. It is a collection of information.
Okay, okay. Okay, fine. So, in your standpoint, data is a collection of information, right? So let's understand what is data first. Okay. So then again I'll come back to you and I'll ask you. So what is data? Okay. So let's play a game here. Okay, a funny game. So is it data or information, guys? Is it data or information? So there is a difference between data and information. Be very, very clear. Okay. So the things that I have entered here, is it related to data or information?
Data.
Okay. So just now you have said data is the collection of information. Where is the information here? So let us
I think
understand. Yeah, Ranganath.
right, data is a collection of information which will be collected from an application wise, like that, which is generated.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So it is generated from the web application. Correct? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now let us understand about information first then. Okay. So if you ask me to define information, information is the processed form of data. Be very, very clear. Okay. Information is the processed form of your data. Okay, that means let's take an example. Okay, I have 100 mobile numbers in my brain. 100 mobile numbers got stored in my brain, man. Okay, you came and asked me, hey, tell me my mobile number. Okay, what I will do, my brain will process this 100 mobile numbers and then it will give your mobile number. That is the information. Be very, very clear. So the one phone number that I'm giving according to the ask from my friend, so that is the information. That is not, that is not the data. If your data is in processed form, then that is the information. Okay, now what is the data then? Okay, so what is the data? So data is the stored representation of objects and events that are part of the business. Okay, so what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Let's understand our web application itself. Your customers, let's take banking example. Your customers and your bank employees and your bank owners, everybody part of that banking business. These are all different objects that are there in your banking business. Okay, so when these objects started communicating with each other, meaning your business owner is talking to business, bank employees using a portal. Okay, so then employees are talking to business owner with a web application, and by entering the customer's information. So that is where your data is getting generated. Be very clear. So data is just a stored representation of these objects and events. Event meaning what? A customer is doing a transaction in a bank. That means a customer object in the business is talking to bank object in the business. So the interaction is generating a event. Okay, so we are storing that event as well. We are storing this object's information as well in some place. Okay, so that is why we are calling this stored representation of events and objects that are part of the business. Okay, so the data is different from the information. Be very clear. If you process your data and give the required data to the users or to the people, then it will become information. Our data engineers, one of the responsibility is generating the information out of the data. Be very clear. One of the roles and responsibilities of the data engineer is deriving the information out of the entire raw data that we have. This is also one of the responsibility. So you take any business, every business have certain objects. If it is retail business, you have customers, right? If you are storing that customer's data, or if you are storing that customer's details in some place, that is data. If you are storing your retail store information, some retail store related details in some place, that is data, right? So every business have certain objects, and when these objects starts communicating with each other, that's where the events will get generated. These events in real time, we call them as transactions. Be very clear. So when any user or any customer, if you take the retail business, let's say I'm going to DMart. Okay, I brought all my products. These products details are already being stored some place. So that's the products data. Okay, and then we take all the products, we went to the billing, and then there will be a sales executive. So those details, sales executive is one of the object in that business. Even their details will be placed in some place to give the salaries. Okay, so that is the employee data. And then we have products data, we have employees data, and then we have customers as an object in the business. So they'll maintain your data also. So when we enter the products, they will take our mobile number. That is your ID in all your retail stores, right? So your customers is one object category, your category, and your business owners are one objects category in that entire business. And the medium for everybody to communicate with each other is the sales portal itself, right? So we are coming to billing information, and that sales portal will be designed according to the business owner's ideology. So we are talking to that sales portals with the product IDs that we have. So they will scan that ID, they will add that payment, and then we'll make the payment. So when we are talking to the business, when we talk to business actually, so these are all the pre-process that we do. We add the products into the cart, and then finally we made the payment. So the single agreement between the business and us is the payment. You give me the products, I'll pay you. That's it. That's where the event ends, right? So now your business owner or the retail store owner will store that information or will store that detail somewhere. So that's where the data will be placed. Okay, so the entire data will be stored and managed or maintained in one place. That place we call it as a database. Okay, so now if you see here, this is my data. Okay, this is my data. So if you add some value to your data, then it will give more meaningful, right? So let's see. See this. Now it makes sense, right? So before this, what is 1? What is Mahesh? What is M? What is 20? We don't know. So you are giving some meaningful sense to your data using this header, right? So we call it as metadata. In real-time projects, we call it as metadata. Understand the difference between these three keywords, guys. Data, information, and metadata. So metadata is, I mean, in Amirpet and all, they'll define like a bookish data about the data. Okay, so that's what the definition they will give in Amirpet, the institutes. Okay, the bookish definition. So I don't uh, say that. So I'll explain. Okay, so metadata is the data which explains the characteristics of the actual data. Be very, very clear. The characteristics of the actual data. So the actual data is one. What is the characteristics of the data? It is employee ID. Okay, so employee ID have some meaning. Okay, in the typical organization, every employee can have ID, and that ID, the attribute name of that ID is EMP ID, and the type of that ID is string type. Okay, and then it is the value it is holding is 1. So the value we call it as data, and the remaining all the information about that particular data is metadata. Okay, so data which describes the characteristics of the actual data, we call it as metadata. Okay, so now we know data, we know metadata, we know information. Okay, so information is something which will be processed form of your data. So you can have whole lot of raw data in a typical business. Let's take a retail store, guys. Okay, every customer, day in and day out, he's going and he's doing some transactions, and then he's coming back, right? So we go and we buy products, and then we come back to our homes, correct? So let us take an example. You are visiting your nearby DMart or nearby Vijayata store, or any kind of a retail store. So when you go continuously, your details will be saved, using your mobile number. So now business owner want to grow his business, or business owner want to add some value or enhance his business, right? So in that sense, he asked his team, software development team, hey, I need the customers who are most trusted customers. Okay, okay, so what is the trusted customer who will visit me in a regular fashion, right? So now this business owner came to the software team and asked, hey, I need the customers who are visiting at least twice a week. Okay, So now pull out that customers list for me. That is the information. Okay, that is not the data, guys. Be very, very clear. According to the business requirement, we are pulling the required data from the entire data. So that required data will become information. Be very, very clear. Okay. So any questions or queries, guys? Are you able to understand what is data, what is information, what is metadata? Are we clear?
Yes.
Yes, clear.
Okay. So Anusha, Pragati, Ranganath, are we on the same
Yeah.
page?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Venki.
Okay, fine. So Sai Teja, are you able to understand?
Yes, Venki.
Okay, okay, great. So this is the basic introduction, guys. Okay, so without telling all these, if I directly went to Google Cloud Platform and let's start, okay, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, you need to understand the background for everything that you're going to start, right? So today we discussed about the key things, right? So the key things, so the basics of, where the data is getting generated, how the data is getting generated, what is data, first of all, what is information, what is metadata, right? So everything we know. So that the basic terminology related to data, we know that. Okay. So when you from today, when you are talking to your friends or when you are talking to your team members, okay, if all of a sudden if you call data and information, combinedly, so do not encourage. Okay. So if you are giving information, give information. If you are taking information, take information. And if you want to mention some point it is data, mention it. Okay. So try to ingest these things into you. Okay. So that it will be very helpful when you start your data engineering journey. Okay. So that is what. So we know how to store the data. So in real world, the storing of data is a very big problem. Okay. So now today, in the current generation, so the data storage is very huge. If you look at Facebook, or if you look at WhatsApp, on a typical day basis, we are generating around 4 petabytes of data. Okay, so where all this data is going? Just give it a thought, guys. Think once. A Facebook application is generating around 4 petabytes of data per day. So how are they maintaining this data storage? How are they storing entire data? How are they converting this data to information? Just think once. So that's where your journey starts. So we are here. I mean, I'm here to guide you to visualize that world. Okay. So come along with me. So this is just an introduction. Okay. So tomorrow we will see what actually, the architecture behind entire this, data platforms, right? Behind every application, what is the data platform that is supporting, right? So we will understand the backbone of the data analytics, right? So tomorrow we will see this in depth. Okay. So today it's just a basic introduction of how to generate the data, or what is the motivation to know, right? So about the data and information and metadata, and where we store the data. So this storage is, it may be databases, or it may be network filers, or it may be some other storage location, right? So there are multiple ways to store the data. Okay. So we will discuss the backbone of this entire data analytics platform tomorrow. Okay, so how a typical data analytics will happen, right? So we will take real-time examples, and then we will try to see. So the next thing that we're going to see is the advanced data analytics, right? Advanced data analytics. So in data analytics, so if you see the older, data analytics, so they will be done in some state, but now this data analytics system itself is got matured. Okay, so it got matured in such a way that in today's world we were able to predict the future of the businesses, right? So that is where the machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, every technology is coming in. Okay, so we need to understand about the big data analytics, which is actually the advanced data analytics system, and then we will see its architecture as well. Okay, and then we will see the key roles and responsibilities of data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, right? So who are all these fellows, right? So we will understand that as well tomorrow. Okay, so we will see the key roles and responsibilities of a typical data engineer also, right? So, and then the prerequisites of this data engineer, right? So we will see that as well. Okay. So these are the things that we're going to cover in this introduction. So first of all, we need to understand what we do, right? Then we'll learn what to do. Okay. So that is something that we'll focus on. So tomorrow is also the introduction session. So these are very, very important, guys. So do not miss tomorrow's session. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining once again tomorrow.
Thanks.